All right, welcome back to Webinar Wednesdays. I'm back on live. Thank you so much for everyone for joining and being patient. I know we kicked off with some technical difficulties, but here I am back at it again. So today we're going to be talking about digital income, how to create, market, and sell your first digital product this year. And this is a topic that, I think many of you will find very relevant and pertinent to not only your personal career journey, but also to for your financial freedom, your journey, anything that you're trying to manifest financially right now. Digital income streams and creating a plan and a blueprint for that is going to be very, very crucial for your long-term plans in many different respects. So I'm going to really dive right deep into this conversation in a way that's really going to hopefully be very useful to you, helpful to you in many ways, and of course, practical and actionable for you to take on immediately after this session. Okay, so essentially, I want to stop sharing for a bit and just like come down to earth and just, really emphasize that, one thing that we found when I have conversations about whether it be, how to like monetize your expertise, how to like, generate income through digital products. There's I found a lot of pushback because a lot of people really kind of like don't feel like either they don't want to come off salesy, or they feel like, oh, I don't really have expertise that people will pay for. There's a lot of, personal, I would say a lot of people cancel themselves out before they can even play, right? And my hope is to really reposition and reframe your thinking around digital income. And I get it because there's so many bad actors in the ecosystem, in the digital world that we operate in. So a lot of times when it comes to creating digital incomes, you're overstimulated with so many different, social media reels, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, talking about how to do it. But no one's being honest, sincere, and practical about, okay, should I do it? How do I do it? And what's the best method to do it that works for me in terms of my situation, my experience, and my level of understanding when it comes to this whole digital income creation universe. And so today we're going to improve, obviously, your finances in a sense where we're going to share with you how you could create game-changing opportunities for yourself by turning your ideas, your experience, your practical expertise into income streams that could really generate opportunities for you in the long run. So we're going to really dive into this. So by introduction, my name is Christine and Tim. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm a tech ecosystem builder. Many people know that I have not only built and scaled multiple revenue generating businesses, but I'm extremely passionate about helping people really monetize their expertise online. And that's the reason why I have a lot of content around personal branding, public speaking, just ways for you to really monetize the experiences that you've built so many years to really grow and develop as a person and share that thought leadership to others. So because of that work that I do on a consistent basis, I've been featured in a lot of different media outlets, but you're here to pretty much learn how I've been able to monetize that experience, whether it's through public speaking, like the webinar session that I did last week, or whether it's through webinars, this is another webinar sessions that I did, or whether it's just through my businesses, how I've been able to build, create, and scale them. Today, I'm going to specifically talk about the digital products that I've created over the years and how I was able to create them, build them, and sell them online. All right. So obviously, if you want more information about how to go beyond selling digital products and really monetizing your personal brand in general, feel free to check my website at christineandtim.com for more information about the Personal Brand Accelerator program. So without further ado, let's move forward. So as stated before, today we're going to talk about digital income, how to create, market, and sell your first digital product this year. And I'm going to kick off this conversation just really getting you in the know of where we are today as a society to really see where you can position yourself into this opportunity that is a digital income opportunity, right? And then I'll conclude by sharing with you a simple 3 easy step blueprint for you to be able to generate digital income this year. So let's get started. So first and foremost, a lot of people usually ask, when it comes to digital income, do I have to be like, typical social media influencers who are bombarding the internet with content, salesy pitches? I mean, you don't have to do all that. Honestly, no matter what your background profession, whether you're an entrepreneur, social media influencer, a corporate professional, whatever your background is, you have some level of experience that people could literally learn from and pay you for to learn from it, right? And so a lot of times I usually share with people that first and foremost, I want to make sure I understand your mindset around digital income. And usually the first reaction I get from people is like, is it real? Is it a scam? Is it truly, possible? Like, there's so many skeptics right now because there's been so many bad actors flood the market that a lot of times when we talk about making money online or digital income, passive income, it's met with a little bit of hostility and skepticism and just annoyance, really, right? Because I feel like everyone on the internet right now has something to say about this. But one thing I will say is that one way or another, whether you feel skeptical about this whole conversation around passive income streams through digital products, the reality is it is a mechanism for making money, and you could do it honestly, efficiently, systematically in a way that really adds to your credibility and doesn't take away from your credibility. I'm a testament to that because many of you know probably a lot of the digital products that I sell in terms of my expertise and my experience. And I will share with you how I was able to also build that credibility within my network so that way you could do the same, because you don't want to be like these other actors who are out here honestly just running amok, right? Just pretending like they know and have thought leadership on certain topics and they have no idea. They're probably researching and putting it out there, and it's causing real frustration amongst the ecosystem. I will share with you how to really create value that works. Okay. So first and foremost, with that said, I've shared this before that I'm aware that the internet is filled with a lot of people doing side hustles, side gigs, online businesses, no projects. And part of that, if you're looking at the macroeconomic reality that we're living in, is like obviously inflation is at all-time high. More and more people are getting laid off and starting new businesses. More and more people who even have full-time jobs require multiple side gigs to really make ends meet. So that's the economic circumstance that's really creating this whole wave of people coming online and trying to juggle multiple gig opportunities. But also the culture has also shifted over the past couple of years to create the reality and also the respect for people who are able to do this really well, right? Back then, if you were someone who were doing multiple things, you just look very scattered. Now people have accepted people for their complexity, their versatility, and just in general. And why is it important that you understand this, right? First and foremost, I'll start by saying that right now, it is becoming clear whether you're talking about it or whether it's like subconsciously in the purview, you are aware that the society that we thought we had is broken, right? This is very, very, very clear. You could ask anyone who's speaking that, like literally something systematically, fundamentally has changed. And it didn't change for the good. Something is truly broken with our society, right? And some of you might be asking, okay, what do you mean by that? Like, I know, like, I can relate. I get you. I'm on the same wavelength, but what do you really mean by that specifically? And I'm going to be direct about this. Like, I think right now, we as people are very skeptical of institutional establishments, and that's just the honest truth. And the reason for that is that a lot of our institutional places, our bodies that we built so much trust and credibility in, really did not serve us well, right? So whether it's our governments, our corporations, mainstream media, our schools, we are questioning the trust, the credibility, the honesty, the sincerity of a lot of institutional bodies right now. And I tend to get this conversation going with my network or my community where, a lot of people say, okay, well, when did this happen? Because it wasn't always like this. And I know for me personally, growing up, I knew that, really engaging, like if you wanted like the right product, you went to the institutional big corporate brand because you knew that it had a reputation for excellence. Now, it's not the same, right? And so when did this actually happen? And some people say that it happened probably post the pandemic, but I kind of want to challenge that and think that it actually happened a lot sooner than this. I think society was going through a transitional breakdown well long before the pandemic. And I can say this as someone who travels on a regular basis around the world. So I have many different vantage points to see this, that, the social fabric that we've once had is really just like unraveling right before our eyes, right? And part of that is that a lot of things are moving very, very fast. Culture has shifted. Technology is really pushing us forward faster than ever. And the industry for getting new people to come online and engage is really shifting, right? And so clearly with this reality, there's a major new shift happening. And this is the reason why this conversation, I'm telling you, is beyond income. It's going to change how you actually coexist with your peers, with your network, but more importantly, how do you actually plan your career out? Because you need to understand the shift that's currently happening right now in society, and how do you actually position yourself pretty much for what's next, right? And the reality is more and more people are becoming both consumers and producers. I'm going to repeat that again to make sure that you heard me, for those of you in the back, okay? More people are becoming both consumers and producers. And this is a big deal because we as society are used to be consumers, right? Which means we believe in institutional brands promoting products that we know that we need or that we want, and we buy them and we move forward with our day to day. When you have more individuals now also producing those same products, those same value proposition, you're getting flooded and inundated with, and you probably feel this, like marketing from institutional brands, individual brands. I don't think I could walk away anywhere, both online, on TV, on my phone, just walking down the block, across the street, because I am tired of people selling me something, right? And that's just the world that we live in, right? Everyone is pitching you, selling you, promoting something, sharing something, trying to reel you into something, right? Because we're all almost becoming producers. And to be honest with you, it's actually inevitable that we all eventually do become producers. But the point is that this is where creativity comes in, where we should not all be producing the same product, the same value proposition, the same way we have millions of different business brands, institutional brands that provide value for the millions and millions of people who are coming online selling products. You got to position yourself for creativity. And this is where we come in. So I want to welcome you officially to the influencer economy, because this influencer economy, where people like you are literally influencing markets, is driving the information economy. And what does that mean? Specifically, as we lose more trust in institutions, which is happening at an alarming rate, we are going to start turning to individuals. And your goal is that you want to be the individual that people start to turn to, specifically for a brand, a value proposition, or expertise that you currently hold. You want people to turn to you, right? That's the goal, right? Which means as an influencer, okay, you can provide information that not only could transform someone else's life, but also drive the global economy in an entirely new direction. That is literally the tipping point scale of what's happening right before your eyes, which is why you're seeing so many people become way more sophisticated, way more branding, and way more strategic with their approach to this online space, because people are catching on to the fact that, look, I can influence and drive people, attitudes, direction towards something, right? So you need to be able to learn how to do that very, very well. So becoming an influencer, what does that look like, right? First and foremost, I want you to just quickly provide some truths that I noticed that will really set the stage for how you're going to position your strategy and your blueprint and your plan for creating additional income this year. First and foremost, as many of you are aware, because society is broken, because the fabric of how we have a relationship with institutional bodies has been broken, we realize that for us to learn how to really exist and really do our day-to-day, that theory no longer works in today's society. I know you get this, right? Where sometimes you're searching for, let's say you have a problem and you go onto Google and you search for it, and the first search results is practical advice. It actually gets on my nerves right now, just Googling just on a regular basis, because some of the content out there is so outdated, so bland, so superficial, and just so high level that it just annoys me that people took the time to give that nonsense on the internet right now, right? So we are now increasingly frustrated with people providing theory and not practical conversation, practical strategy. So you will need practical strategies to get ahead, which means if you know that you need practical strategy, you're going to look for people who are able to provide practical strategy. I know you're feeling me right now when I say this. So that's the first truth that's happening right now. The second thing is information is getting outdated like ever before. This is the reason why by the time something makes it mainstream, where let's say someone have a really unique hack or a tactic or strategy, they go online right now, thousands of viewers are watching it. It's on YouTube, it's on Instagram, it's on TikTok, it's on Facebook. By the time it becomes mainstream, you bet that strategy is now outdated in the sense that now you cannot leverage the same amount of gains that the first wave of people who applied that strategy was able to gain. This is the reason why once you become an influencer and you're creating practical strategy, practical value for people, people end up following you because they know that they need to keep getting time sensitive updates from you to be able to stay ahead of the curve and ahead of the game. So information now gets outdated very, very quickly. This is the reason why someone who, let's say, launched something 5 years ago is not able to literally generate the same type of success with that strategy today. It's happening very, very rapidly. And I know many of you feel this when it comes to strategies that you probably used to do 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, even 2 months ago, and you feel like it's not generating the same results. This is why this is happening. Things are moving very, very fast. And finally, people want to learn from raw, relatable experiences, not perfect formulated platforms. A perfect example of this, before I went live, you saw me like, look, I had some technical difficulties. I could just recorded this video, polish it, have sound effects like boom, flash, whoosh, all the different fireworks, right? To make this look like a pristine video webinar. So you feel like, look, I paid money to make this webinar on point. You don't care for that, right? Me having a flashy, nice webinar, it's not going to add any value to your life. But what I'm saying, if it's really resonating with you, if it's really reframing your thinking, flipping your perspective, giving you another leg up, yeah, I don't care how raw it is, you're going to literally take it all in, right? So people want raw, relatable experiences. And that's where I'm getting from, right? Where if you're able to provide that, people will follow on suit. Okay? So with that said, now that we are aware of these truths, how do you monetize that influence, right? Essentially, you got to learn how to package your knowledge, your experiences, your life lessons, your story, right? Everything that encompasses who you are today and the journey that took you to this point, you want to package that into digital products. That's it. And many of you are asking, okay, that is the point. That's why you're here. You want to figure out what is this digital income blueprint? How do you actually create a digital product, market it, and sell it? I'm going to help you do that. Okay. First and foremost, I want you to get rid of some of your apprehensions first and foremost. And one crazy objection I get from a lot of people is like, well, I don't know how to create digital products, right? I see people are doing it, but I don't know how to actually create a digital product from scratch, right? The answer is, first and foremost, you're not really creating a new product. I want to get this out your head. I know we have to use the right terminologies for you to understand what you are technically doing, but in reality, you are not. Let me repeat, you are not creating a new product. What you're doing is you're packaging your time-tested expertise. Let me make this very clear. So what you're doing essentially is like you have, let's say, you know how to cook really great Haitian food. I'm Haitian American, so I know how to cook really great Haitian food. My black rice and let's say my jerk chicken is really, really good. Okay. So I can just say like, yo, here are different ways to cook black rice and jerk chicken. But I have cooked this meal over and over and over and for several years since my college years, to the point that my whole family loves this meal, right? And have tricks on how to do that. I have secret ingredients that I use. I have time and effects, ways that I package, like everything. And I'm literally, because I've done it over and over and over again, people know me for it. We go to family functions. People say, Christine, can you bring your black rice and jerk chicken, right? So I got validation from my community, from my partners, from my ecosystem. Now I can package that into a recipe book, into a course, into any type of medium where I can share that expertise. And there you go. Right? So that's what you're creating. You're not creating a product, you're packaging your expertise. That is the first one. And what are you selling exactly? This is what it looks like. Your experience plus the journey that created that experience, right? Because even though, let's say we all went to college, not all of us had the same college experience journey, right? Your experience plus your journey creates a unique perspective, okay? Two people could be living in the same household, but each person can have a completely different interaction, relationship with people in the household. Perfect example of that. I am a mother, a wife. I'm a mother to 4 beautiful children, okay? I have 2 girls, I have 2 boys. I will tell you right now, even though I know I'm a mother to all 4 of them, I give them all the best of my love consistently, unconditionally. I know my firstborn daughter might have a completely different interaction and experience and understanding of me than my youngest son, right? And so it's really important that you understand that this is what differentiates you. It's not just the expertise that you're providing, it's the uniqueness of the experience and the journey that you've like literally lived, practically speaking, that creates a perspective. And from that perspective, you have these aha moments where now, because you're getting good at this, you're now creating a value chain where now you can share that thought leadership with someone else in the form of secrets, strategies, tactics, tips, blueprint, because you have now manifested a perspective that sets you apart. And people will know you have a unique perspective because people have seen it. People have visualized and seen you do certain things. People are like, yeah, you're great at this. I understand that. I want to take on board your secrets, your strategies, your tactics, and your blueprint. That's that. Right. So essentially, your story, your journey is that packaging, right? The second objection that I usually hear is like, I don't know where to market my expertise, right? A lot of people get stuck with like, okay, I understand how to package my expertise, but how do I market it? What do I do? How do I even get started? And you know, the immediate answer is going to be social media, right? Because social media is a free platform for you to really reach audiences like never before. And there are other audience pools like newsletters, social media groups, live events where you could create spaces to introduce your value proposition. But even though you know where to go, doesn't mean you know how to use it. So, for example, you might know that you need to go to the park to work out, but that doesn't mean when you get to the park, you're going to work out consistently, right? So, you might know that you need to go to social media, different social media platforms to promote, engage, and talk about the expertise that you have, but you probably are not doing it on a regular basis. And that's where it generates the audience, because the more consistent you are, the easier it is for people to turn to you and become your biggest fan, because they realize that you know what you're talking about and you're doing it on a consistent basis. Eventually, you will build the credibility you need in an area where people will start to turn to you for advice. And once people start to turn to you for advice, where people are like, you know, sharing what you're saying, engaging with you, literally almost showing off that they know you because you know something in a certain type of experience, that's the time to start building a product plan, right? And being very, very targeted. And last but not least, the last objection that I usually get is that I don't know how to monetize my expertise. So you know how to package your experience. You know how to go on social media and show up and be ready to go. But how do you make money from it? And that's where a lot of people always get stuck, because, okay, they figure out the first 2 steps, but they don't know where to go next, right? And the first thing I would say is that you got to balance sharing really good insights with product selling, right? So value sharing, balancing it with product selling. And this is how it looks like. Once you create your first product, let's say you create something that's very simple for people to buy, right? Eventually, you're going to learn how to really do more and provide more value to others, right? So eventually, that one product becomes a product suite, right? And that product suite creates a value ladder where different people at different stages. If people are beginner friendly, you create a beginner friendly product. If people are more experienced and they want more experiences from you, then you create a premium product. Well, going back to the cooking example, right? Obviously, not everyone will be able to know how to cook black rice, right? So I could be able to show people, okay, how to cook black rice, but then I can show people like, okay, how to now cook black rice with certain type of seasonal vegetables. I can teach people, okay, you know, at the high end, like how to really create, you know, different variations of black rice depending on the type of beans that you're using, right? I get more and more premium with the content that I'm sharing and create this entire value ladder. Now, how you actually now monetize your expertise is you got to combine that product selling, right? Selling those products, packaging your value at different price points with really great content where you're validating the work that you do by creating a content ladder. This is what you post on social media. And what that looks like is that you're creating content on a regular basis that's really basic, beginner friendly for people who want to buy a small product, let's say at $7 to $97, right? For people who want to pay more because they want more value from you, you got to create really very simple content that's really from mid-level perspective, that's really helping people go beyond beginner basics. Like, oh, now you're giving me perspective on something I already knew, but now I can take it to the next level, right? And the last one is like, look, like now you're taking people to a whole new level where you're giving them an exact solution and you're creating content around that. This is a combination of the work that I do on a regular basis where I share a lot of great content on social media. And by default, I'm able to provide really great value and products to complement that great content. And I'll give you a visual of how I'm able to do that, practically speaking, by now sharing with you the digital income blueprint in 3 easy steps, how I'm able to do this on a step-by-step basis. And I'm going to give you exact visuals of how I do this in real time, even right now as we speak. Let me show you how I do this. First and foremost, you got to make sure that you build what you know. One thing I get increasingly frustrated with right now on the internet is that a lot of people, quote unquote, social media gurus are saying that, oh, find the trending topic, pick a niche. All those things are well and dandy when you get to like the copywriting skill set of marketing your product. But I always think that, and this is maybe the reason why I'm successful with it, is that I always start with what I actually know. What's my experience? What do I do right now that people know me for, that I can share that thought leadership with others? And how that looks like is like this, right? What experiences do you have that that others can emulate because you've done it so organically that it comes easy to you, but might be very, very hard for others to do, right? So a perfect example of that, if you Google me, you can see all different accolades and experiences that I've accumulated over the years as an entrepreneur, as a global speaker, as a personal brand influencer. These are 3 areas that people literally can find tremendous amount of credibility around in terms of my experiences, right? So guess what? I'm going to create products or experiences or information and resources around those 3 areas that I exist in on a daily basis, right? So if someone want to learn how to build a business, they can learn from me because they've seen and witnessed me launch my first startup and generate multiple companies over the years. They see me get media mentions, all these different type of revenue. They see me close clients and announce clients on social, right? So they could attach to my entrepreneurial experience. For those who want to learn how to become a public speaker, clearly you can see on a regular basis, I'm speaking at multiple conferences every single year. And I'm monetizing that speaking engagement because certain conferences that I go to, the paychecks that they write off to have someone come in to speak on those stages, right? So again, I am literally walking in my truth and packaging information and resources around that experience and thought leadership, right? And of course, I'm a huge, huge advocate around personal branding. No other person could tell me that if you don't go on my website that you don't see clearly how I market my personal brand on a consistent basis on global stages, in webinars like this one, private meetings. I'm very clear and direct with my personal brand and the persona and image and value that I provide to people, right? So how that translates into digital products, if you saw, I walk you through the 3 identity markers that I am as a person that I exist in terms of my professional career. The 3 experiences that people see on a regular basis of me living in that truth. These are the 3 product areas that I've created for different title areas of my life. So if someone want to learn how to build a personal brand from scratch, they could join my personal brand accelerator. If someone want to launch a public speaker career like I did and learn from my experiences, they could join my public speaker accelerator. If someone wants to learn how to build and scale a digital business, they can learn from my digital income creator bootcamp program. You see how that manifests, right? So I don't need to do all the gimmicks and tricks to market and promote. Like a lot of people you can see on my website, like on my social media feeds, like I still leverage social media as a social platform to just engage and have fun and share really tidbits about my life, right? Because I'm no longer, I like my lifestyle is the working. Does that make sense? Because people can see me in my truth, just operating like, yeah, it makes sense that you're selling these digital products because you're already doing it, right? And because of that, remember I told you it's really important that you learn from people who are able to provide time sensitive, updated information in real time. By me living the experiences that I'm selling, right? I'm able to also update my community with that content information, right? So with that said, once you build what you know, then you got to learn how to market what you know. And this is what that looks like, okay? What ways can you prove to different audiences that you are in fact the right person for them to learn from? This is very, very important, all right? Because obviously people find the visuals, right, of you literally working in your truth, right? People could see that I'm an entrepreneur. People could see that I'm a public speaker. People could see that, that I've built and scaled digital businesses. But what ways can I prove that in fact really doing that, right? And that's where the content consistency on social media is very, very important, right? And how I provide consistency, clarity, and great content is through my webinar Wednesdays. You're experiencing that right now. You're making an impression of me right now as I speak, right? And no matter what, if I'm showing up consistently every single week and I'm sharing my thought leadership, I'm pulling back the curtains on my style, my leadership, how I do things. Literally, even my cadence, my attitude, my flow, my swag, everything about me that you're feeling through this webinar right now is my credibility, right? So if I'm telling you, I know how to do X, and I'm teaching it for free on these webinar sessions. And like, look, if I got a product to help you go beyond the webinar session, guess what? You're gonna sign up because you're like, look, if I like her for 30 minutes, I'm gonna like her for 3 days, right? I'm gonna like her for several weeks because it makes sense, right? That I'm showing that credibility. So you gotta also show up for your people. And keep in mind, my call to action, my goal is not because I'm just trying to sell products, right? Because if that's the goal, I could just do email blasts all day. I have an entire newsletter community to do that. Like I'm at that stage in my career where just an email blast and I get hits. I like the work that I do. I like to teach. I don't think anyone can really question that they could tell from my personality that I love teaching, and I love teaching in video and in-person stage format, right? I'm like a one-to-many type of person, right? And so I'm operating also in the skill set that helps me reach the audiences that I want to bring in, right? So again, this is my medium doing it through my webinar Wednesdays. And clearly I've been recognized for it, so it makes sense. Finally, once you're able to figure out your consistent mechanism of marketing what you know, because you now built the products that you know and you marketing consistently, now we're going to talk about how do you sell what you know. And all that really culminates into you knowing how to turn, let's say, 30 minutes of free minutes of value. So, for example, this webinar, into extended paid product opportunities for people who want more of your expertise, of your perspective, of your strategy, of your tactics, of your charisma, everything that is you. If people want more, they got to pay for it, right? Because we live in a functional society where time is money. So, of course, you can add value to your community by providing free sessions. I think everyone should always give back to their community in some type of way because you don't know who you're helping out there. And sometimes I show up at different events where someone comes up to me like, look, this webinar that you did really changed my life, or this article that you wrote really gave me really newfound perspective. They didn't buy a product, but the way they're tearing up when they meet me, I'm like, damn, like I'm getting emotional. It hits me right here, right? Because I'm like, look, like that took me 30 to 45 minutes to put that out there. Oh my God, I'm emotional. To put that out there, and someone came up to me and told me thank you, right? That it's crazy, right? And I will tell you, for those of you who want to get into this thought leadership line, and not so much line of business, but just this line of work, like I can't begin to tell you how unique it is to know that your experience can really help someone else really navigate through life's crazy circumstances. Like I don't even know how else to explain that, right? Because being an adult is hard, man. Like there's so much that's going on. And when you can learn from people who really got to figure it out and got to figure it out in a way that really resonates, you want that person to pour into you, right? And so if you're able to pour into others through the work that you do, through these thought leadership avenues, do it, right? And keep in mind, as you do it, these are the strategies and tactics for you to monetize it, to scale it, to keep it, consistent, but pour into people. It will pay you back in dividends in ways that you never saw before, right? And so for me, how I create products from the content that I'm already sharing, right? I'm already showing up online through my webinars, through my content, through my messages, through my photos, through my jokes, through my swag, right? Like I'm showing up already for my community. This is what I do. So for example, like, look, I hosted a webinar on public speaking. People are like, look, that 1 hour was great, but I want to hear more. Can you walk me through this part? Can you walk me through how to actually, get into contract, launch accelerator program? And the participants have been truly transformed from that experience, right? Because now I'm taking time from my schedule to sit down and say, okay, let me show you how to do it from scratch, right? That is literally the simplicity of it all, right? And obviously, people have seen me monetize over and over. This is my digital receipt example that I show people of, like, that I've done this over and over on a regular basis. Now, I don't even need to be generating multiple receipts. You could tell just by like when I show up, right? So following this model of build, market, sell, what you know is the simplest way of creating a digital income blueprint that really generates so much different passive opportunities for you, but more importantly, helps you really crystallize your knowledge and expertise and package it in a way that creates value for other people. So to conclude, this is it, guys. This is the digital income blueprint, where you have now learned how to package your experience, right? Which is a journey of life lessons that you've accumulated that gives you a unique perspective. This is the key component, that other people might have a similar experience, but they didn't undergo the same journey that you did. So you now accumulated a unique perspective that helps you generate really unique, guys. Because again, I already told you I hate Googling generic advice on the internet. Be that person that goes beyond generic advice. Don't be that person, okay? Where you're able to create unique secrets, strategies, tactics, tips, blueprints for others to build and package your experience, provide that to others on a regular basis for free, creating that value, creating that ecosystem, so that when we create a paid premium product that really breaks things down at the fundamental level, people like move forward with you. And as you grow your career, as you grow your value proposition to others, it continuously to grow and snowball into this big thing where now you have now built consistent brand reputation and credibility that gets noticed. Okay. And so I want to conclude by saying thank you so much for joining me on this webinar. If this was helpful to you, definitely sign off and see me again next Wednesday. For those of you who want to go beyond this 1 hour session and want me to walk you through my blueprints and my strategy of how I'm able to generate digital income streams from scratch, feel free to sign up and join me for the Digital Income Creator Bootcamp. It's a 3-day bootcamp where I share unique strategies on how to create a digital product, how to market it and generate leads organically and quickly, and how to sell that digital product consistently, so that way you have an automatic funnel and systematic process to do that. So with that said, I want to again thank you all for joining me today. It's always a pleasure joining you on Webinar Wednesdays, and I look forward to seeing you next week, same time, same place. Bye-bye. Welcome, everyone, to the Personal Brand Accelerator Program. We're going to talk about really the who, what, when, where, how of personal branding. Personal branding, in many ways, is an ongoing process, right? Because You are practicing, you're developing, you're manifesting yourself over time as you grow and develop as a person within your career. Today, we're transitioning from the personal branding fundamentals to now building your personal branding foundation, right? You can't position yourself for opportunity unless you understand your motivations and what is your capacity. Now, at the very beginning, you should always be experimenting with your brand and engaging with the world, just trying to find out, okay, what experiments do you need to run to see where you need to be. There are a million different ways to make money with your personal brand, but you either got to do what is your biggest strength right now, right? Or you do where the most resources are available. A lot of people, when they're trying to monetize their personal brand, they focus on bucket 4 and 5. Right? Where they're working with people to get speaking engagements, contracts. You're doing a lot of external activities to get that clout from the community to pay you for certain works. A lot of times people confuse marketing and sales to be the same thing, right? This is the reason why a lot of people, they have a personal brand. Let's say they got as far as they create a free or paid product like a course or a retreat or a session, and they're putting it out there. They're quote unquote marketing it. They're promoting it. They're blasting it, but they're not monetizing. They're not making money. And part of the reason why is because they did not combine their marketing strategy with their sales strategy. But I could give you all the systems all day long, but it's up to you to turn it into a routine. And that does require checklists. It does require you really having the discipline to execute on that routine. So much has happened over the past couple of weeks. You have learned so much from start to finish. The best way I could end this is by saying that, look, like a lot of people wait their entire life to try to figure this out. You have the unique opportunity where you have this content for life, right? You have this journey for life where you are now given a blueprint to constantly keep upping your brand, keep accelerating your career, keep creating value, and also creating multiple streams of income for yourself in addition to any of the fundamental work that you do.